Kate Milfalcha, welcome to Irish Granny Helen. Welcome new subscribers, returning subscribers, members, just everybody is welcome. And I hope you consider becoming a member and check out my SUBSTACK, Ask Your Irish Granny. Hit the button, do the thumb, enough of the business. Today I want to talk about a topic that has been kind of up front in awareness recently. This is the weird disappearance of a young woman named Amy Bradley. Now, I actually knew about this case for a long time because it's been covered by true crime podcasts. It's all one of those mysteries that everybody wonders about. And I'm going to tell you right up front that I'm going to give you the background and tell you the story, and then perhaps we'll do a little bit deeper dive in my membership. And I will be uploading a session that I did with Deborah Lupian about this, and you may very much want to look into that because it's revelatory. So let's talk about Amy Bradley. She was born May 12th of 1974 in Petersburg, Virginia. Her dad was a insurance executive. I think her mother also worked with insurance. She had one brother, a younger brother, Brad, and I have to ask, who names their child Brad when their last name is Bradley? I don't know if his full name is Bradley. Bradley. I don't know. Maybe it's a nickname. Nobody mentioned it. She went to the university on a full scholarship. She was studying sports psychology. She got a degree in that. She was a strong swimmer. She had been a lifeguard. She did come out as gay to her family in college. They were very disappointed. They were not happy about it. Although they were still a close family, there was a bit of a chill about that topic. So in December of 96, her father won an all-expense-paid cruise on the Rhapsody of the Seas to Curacao. I always hesitate when I say that name. It's, I believe, Portuguese. It's the Dutch Caribbean. So they paid a little extra, I think, pulled a few strings, and got the people in charge to go along with not just the parents in the stateroom, but also the son and daughter. So all four of them went together. Amy was afraid of heights. She didn't want to go because these things are really tall. They're like stories and stories and stories high. She was apprehensive because it was such a big ship, but also because she wasn't crazy about being out in the middle of nowhere in the ocean. But she was excited when she found out her brother was going to take a break from school to go. So she agreed to go too. Now, she had a new job lined up at a computer consulting firm. She'd been working at a steakhouse, and now she had a real, an adult job. And she cut back her hours at the steakhouse, and she took a leave to go on this trip. She'd just gotten a new puppy. Things seemed to be moving forward in her life. So they won this thing in December. They went in March. March 21st of 1998, they boarded the ship. A couple of days later, they had been having a great time. There are photographs. They looked like they were all having a wonderful time. The parents went to bed on the 23rd, and Amy and Brad stayed up. They went up late. There were young people partying. There was kind of a disco on the ship, and they went dancing and drinking and hanging out with the band. And the band was called Blue Orchid. They had this disco party. Amy made the acquaintance of a guy called Alistair Douglas. His nickname was Yellow. They were seen talking at a table and walking together. His story is he left the disco at 1 a.m. Brad returned to the bedroom, stateroom, at 3:35, and Amy was there 5 minutes later at 3:40. They sat on the balcony. They smoked. They talked. Eventually, he got tired. I mean, they must be young. That's all I can say. He got tired and he went to bed. She stayed on the balcony. So her father woke up, saw the son in the bed, a cot or something on the couch, I don't know. Saw that she was asleep on the balcony on a lounge chair. But he saw her legs and he recognized her. The balcony door was closed. She's sleeping on the lounge, and he thought, oh, she must have been really tired. And he went back to sleep. He woke again at 6, so an hour, maybe even a little less than an hour later, maybe half an hour. And she was gone. The door was ajar to the balcony. She was gone. And the shirt, she had a yellow shirt on over a white shirt. And the yellow shirt was sitting on the chair. But her other clothes were not there. And she was gone. So at 6:30, he woke the family up and he said, where is she? I can't find her. He looked around for her. So there's a lot of, Amy sightings, and I would just put this caveat out there that eyewitness information can be suggestible, questionable, doubtful. They've done studies, and they had a psychology teacher did a study with his class. He was teaching a class. He knew this was going to happen. A couple of guys burst into the room, caused all sorts of chaos, maybe stole something off the teacher's desk, I don't remember, and rushed out. It happened very quickly. But the number of different versions of what happened from the psychology students, telling. Anyway, 3 people say they saw her on the deck with this guy, Yellow, giving her a drink at 5:30. They claimed that they got into an elevator together, and then they later saw him leaving the upper deck alone. So the family was really upset, and they reported her missing immediately. The boat was already getting into harbor. They were parking the boat. Probably not the right term. Docking the boat. She would have disappeared in the time between her father seeing her legs and them parking the boat. It was all very close to shore. She wasn't theoretically lost on the high seas. So the plan was that the passengers, if they chose to, were going to disembark and check out the island and do the touristy thing. Parents begged the crew to, the cruise company, please don't let anyone out. Please make an announcement she's missing. Please organize a search. Please don't let anyone leave the boat until you've done a thorough search. And the cruise company said, well, it's too early to wake everybody up by making public announcements. And, these people paid to go. We can't just deprive them of their cruise experience because you can't find your adult daughter. I'm sorry, we can't do that. So after the majority of the passengers were off the boat, then they made an announcement, would Amy Bradley please come to the purser's desk? So this went on, the parents wringing their hands, the cruise ship being resistant. At 12:15, the crew searched. Brad saw Douglas, the band guy, and he said, oh, Brad, I'm really sorry your sister's missing. And that was before the public announcement was made. But the crew kind of knew. So I don't think that that's significant. He was given a polygraph by the FBI, and it was inconclusive. And there's a reason why polygraphs are not allowed in court. And every single law enforcement professional and lawyer and FBI psychologist and anyone who doesn't have a particular axe to grind about a particular case always says, they say, don't take a polygraph test. It can only serve to make things worse. So for 4 days, the water around the harbor and along the coast was searched by the Coast Guard. Helicopters went out with radar, 3 helicopters with a radar plane. The cruise company chartered a boat and they went out and looked in the ocean. But they found zero evidence of anything. No sign of her, no sign of a crime, no nothing. 1 month later, a taxi driver claimed that he saw her running through the parking lot close to the boat, to where the boat would have been, asking people if she could borrow a phone. Now, this is not corroborated. That's it. That's the end of the story. August of 98, 2 Canadian divers were on a beach, sitting on the beach in Curacao, and they saw a woman walking towards them along the shoreline on the sand with 2 men on either side of her who they called aggressive. One diver felt that this woman was trying to signal to him. He described the tattoo that was familiar with Amy, and he said he was haunted by her. He actually flew to Virginia to meet her family. U.S. Navy petty officer was where he wasn't supposed to be. He was off duty, and he was at a, how do I say this, a bordello, a bar that was really, what it was for. And this was in January of 1999. And this young woman came down and sat next to him and introduced herself. She worked there and told him her name was Amy, and she pleaded for help. She said she was being held against her will and that she got off the ship to buy drugs and then ended up getting held against her will. I will say the family and friends, all of her friends, say that she didn't do drugs. In fall of 99, some guy, anonymous guy, called her family and offered to free her for a price. Her father organized money, $210,000. But he got caught by the FBI. Federal prosecutors got him on fraud, and the money was repaid. He pled guilty and spent 5 years in prison. He had no connection to her at all. In April of 2003, somebody saw her in San Francisco watching street musicians with 2 men, and they ran away when people focused on her. March of 2005, she was seen allegedly in a department store bathroom in Barbados. A woman had overheard 2 men talking to a young woman in the hallway outside the bathroom about children. And the young woman came in and was crying, and this other woman struck up a conversation. And the young woman told her that her name was Amy from West Virginia. This tourist was so concerned she reported it. November 17th of 2005 on Dr. Phil, they showed photos allegedly from some bordello, and they said it looked like Amy. March 24th of 2010, she was declared dead after 12 years. And, that's it. That's the end of the story. So you might want to join me on my membership as we look a little more deeply into it. And then later I will be uploading my conversation with Deborah Lupien, and it is enlightening. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Slunch.